As a new staff member here that's been here for about a month, I am hoping that this job will be rewarding and satisfying. I'm hoping that I'll be able to help people, help families, empower people and families, and be treated as a professional with respect.
I've always kind of been a helper type person, and when I applied for social worker, I was under the assumption that we were there, to help families and everything. So, no, I had no idea what social work actually entailed.
Well, I had initially been working in eligibility, and so I kind of saw the social workers coming in and out of the office and getting fired up over cases and really passionate about what they were doing, and it was a mystery to me, basically. So I was interested. I wanted to find out what it was, and it looked like a job that you could really get into, and I think that's what first drew me to that. My expectations were that I was going to be out helping people and making a difference.
When I first applied for the job, I thought it was going to be a lot of hard work. I'd heard that social workers were there's a high turnover and hard to stay in the profession for very long, so I expected to be worked very hard, but I also expected to be able to make a difference in families' lives and in children's lives. So.
One of the things with my expectations, I guess, is I really thought as a 4E student I had a 2-year payback, and I really expected that I would pay back my 2 years and then get out of child welfare. I expected that I would come in and finish my 2 years in Nevada County and then go on to hang a shingle and see clients as a therapist. So I was hoping to get my hours towards my licensure, which I did, and then I figured I'd leave. But 10 years later, I haven't left.
My training was really hands-on, and back then that was really how it was. I think things have changed since then, and we do have training programs, but much of it is mentoring, spending time with other social workers, and then going to core trainings, as we call them.
The training was very helpful, but I had to look at it from a realistic point of view. The training is the perfect world, but when you get out there and you actually have to deal with the families one-on-one, you pretty much have to understand where they're coming from, understand what their barriers are, and know that it's not going to be the same as the training.
The training so far has been great. I think the best part about the training, or the best training I've received thus far, has been actually going out into the field with a lot of the social workers and just learning what to do in different situations, learning the different styles and techniques that each social worker uses, because it's a little bit different, and that has been just amazing. I think that that's actually being out in the field and being trained out in the field has been even more helpful than just reading, let's say, a bunch of manuals.
I've been working as a social worker for 1 year now, and I've faced a lot of difficulties. The number one I think would be not enough training. Definitely feeling like I'm out there doing work that's life-altering for people, but feeling like I really don't have a full grasp of what it is what I should be doing all the time. So always staffing things with my supervisors and coworkers to get there, but it is the biggest difficulty, not having enough training, and then just time, not having enough time to do what I feel I should be doing, what I want to do for the families, and feeling like I have to kind of piece it out where I can, but at the same time wanting to do more.
One of the aspects that I hadn't really mulled over prior to taking the job was the amount of fear you can have going into a situation where there's drug abuse, there's domestic violence, and maybe one of the parties has been in jail or prison, And when you actually go out to that house, you need to really think about how you want to approach people and approach them in a way that is offering help instead of being judgmental.
Some of the difficulties and challenges that I've faced so far have been going into schools and homes and asking both families and children maybe personal questions that are pretty uncomfortable to ask. That's been pretty difficult to do so far. I think that also working in a smaller town, being the social worker in that small town has been difficult. Running into clients already. I've been there for a month, and you know, seeing clients at the grocery store or seeing people that I've gone into their homes and talked to them about personal issues and seeing them out and about. That's been a little challenging, and just learning about the different rules and regulations and court terms and all of these things that I just really had no background on. So that's been difficult so far.
Certainly I've dealt with many difficult cases over the years, and I would say that the ones that stand out in my mind are those that involve severe physical abuse of young children. Those are the most difficult cases. As well as sexual abuse cases, but dealing with very young children who have been shaken. Shaken baby syndrome is an issue that we have to deal with here through CPS, and it's always extremely difficult for us as social workers to have to deal with those kinds of situations, just to work with children that have been seriously harmed. And so when I think back, there are several cases that come to mind where I worked with children after they had been seriously harmed and have permanent medical problems, and trying to deal with parents in that situation and trying to provide the types of services to attempt to reunify a child back into that home is always very difficult based on the severity of the abuse that occurred and whether or not it would ever be appropriate to return children to that type of environment.
When you have families that have a high level of domestic violence in the home, you have to understand the cycle and understand what the perpetrator, it could be mom or dad, where they're going to come from, because a lot of domestic violence is about power and control. So if you approach them as an extremely aggressive person as well, then that becomes very difficult and can escalate a very dangerous situation. You have to be very cautious and conscientious about your own nonverbal behaviors, whether you're looking at someone a certain way or, I mean, even not looking at somebody a certain way. You have to be very aware of those situations, especially when dealing with domestic violence relationships, or if a parent has extreme mental health problems. They can interpret a lot of what you're saying or what you're doing as something completely different. And I have never been struck or hit, but I have known people that have had that happen to them. I've definitely had parents yell at me in court and try to intimidate.
The worst part is having to go out to a drug-infested home where they're cooking meth, or there's drugs laying around, or there's dog feces, or the home is just not adequate for a toddler or any child. To go into that home and to be put down for what you really believe is true, to have to take officers into a home with you and to address issues that the parents feel that there's no problems, and to pull those children away from the parents, to see those children crying for their parents because that's what they know, that's what love is to them.
You really see some sad situations and some terrible abuse and neglect of children, and it's hard. You can't really talk about it because of the confidential nature of our job, partially, but also partially because your friends and family don't want to hear about it. It's really traumatizing to them. If you just mention something casually about, gosh, I had a hard day at work, this child was burned by, It's terrible. Nobody wants to hear that. So you end up really keeping it inside, and it's hard to figure out what to do with that. It's hard, you know. I know a lot of people. I know a lot of my staff. I know this is my experience. Gain a lot of weight in this profession. So you go home and you sit and soothe yourself with food. We also have a lot of food here. I don't think that's an accident.
During the course of the family reunification process, if the parents are doing well, then 30 days before the actual court report is due, it's okay for you to do a 30-day trial visit. And that's only done if the parents have made a successful completion of their case plan or is looking to complete the case plan within the next few months. Dina, first I'd like to congratulate you on completing your 6-month drug rehab program, and I'm very proud of you. I have a few questions for you. You know, this is my monthly contact with you. My first question is, now that you completed the program, how do you plan to maintain your sobriety?
Well, I've been going to I try to make 3 NAAA meetings a week. And then I go to alumni meetings on Fridays to stay in touch with my sisters at the Tranquility Village. And I'm still looking for a sponsor at these meetings.
Now that you have your children returned to you, how do you plan to maintain your family?
Well, I learned to try to discipline the 2-year-old, which is hard. It's real hard because she does test me, and she's at 2 years old, and she's not listening. But I'm trying to use what I learned there to teach her, or and give her choices. Because right now I don't know why she's not listening to me, but I am trying to learn, to cope with that.
Dana, you have progressed in your case, and it's about to be passed on to family maintenance. Family maintenance is a component that we're there to support you and to help you. Is there anything that you know of right now that the agency can help you with to reach your goals?
Right now, the agency has helped me a lot. They've done everything for me. They've helped me get it. I went to the program. They helped me with whatever I needed. They've been there for me, and they helped me get into this apartment, which I needed help to get my children back, or else I would have to stay in there longer without my girls. But they've been helping me. I can't express enough how much you guys helped me.
The best thing about my job is working with the families and the children, seeing the successes and seeing how far they come, getting their appreciation for doing something for them, for helping them to accomplish where they wanted to be in their life and doing the things they wanted to accomplish. So definitely seeing those successes are the best part of my job.
The reason why I love my job is children. They're so resilient and they're so loving. Even the ones that you can see are hurting, they're still loving and they're open to you. They want to talk to you, and you might have to figure out how to get them to talk to you. But when you do find that door for them, they'll talk to you, and they're just beautiful. Their smiles and the love that they have inside them. That's it. It's just the kids.
The best part about my job is putting that family back together. My unit is family reunification. When I meet with these parents, they've already been through a process already. They had the children detained. They went to court for the jurisdiction disposition. So now everything is set. Now the case comes to me. My job is to sit, review that case plan with that family, and let them know that this is my job. And I am to put your family back together. Now, how can I help you? What is it I could do for you to help you meet these goals that actually got your children detained from you?
Just knowing that there's going to be a balance between a lot of stress but also a lot of reward, and coming in with those expectations, I think, will help a new social worker adapt more effectively.
I maintain a balance in this job by taking my lunches. That's a big one. Actually getting away from the office for a period of time during the day and just regrouping. And then a lot of things with my family. I spend a lot of time with my own children, and they remind me of life and what it's all about. And then I read, and I walk and watch movies and all those kind of things. And then I'm also very involved in my church, and that really gives me a sense of purpose in what I'm doing.
So for someone who's just thinking about a career in child welfare, I would think that they would really want to take a look at what guides them to this career path. What is it that they're hoping to get from being here? Because you don't see a lot of, quick miracles. And then also somebody who is flexible, who's well organized, and somebody who has really good boundaries, because we all come into this profession because we have big hearts, but you really need to, you can't take people home, you can't loan money, you can't do some of the things that it just feels like from person to person you ought to be able to do to help families, but you really need to be able to set those limits and say, this is where I can help, this is how far I'm not able to go. What I think is really, really important for us is that humility and that teachability, that there's always something to learn from the families that we work with. We're not the experts. There's always, we bring skill to the job, and we bring experience to the job. We bring a lot to the table, but there's always something we don't know. Those families know what their strengths are. The families know what they need, and we just need to be good listeners and really help guide families to their own kinds of solutions. I think that's what's most important. I think it's really easy to get burned out if you think and then things don't always go your way. So I think that part's just the most important thing for anybody who's considering a career in child welfare, and then also that self-care piece, that there has to be something that you do that's nourishing to you away from work. And when I talked about boundaries earlier, it's just as important that we have boundaries with ourselves, that we keep work at work, and when we go home, we're able to take care of our own families and our own health. So I think those are the things really to keep in mind.